Well, you know what? It just wasn't good connection on our end, and a lot of things were going wrong. Not your fault.
Okay, here we go. That was just us, folks, talking about how I failed to enact a proper hangout last week. We're taking it live here, one-on-one with Jeff Scott. My name is Jeff Taylor from the Social Media Breakfast Montreal. Um, Talking up the 19th edition, set to take place at La Bistrotte on February 19th. It's our first panel ever, and that's from 8 till 10 a.m. I'm going to post the ticket link in the description of this video. This will be the second one in the last couple of days that we've managed with two of the four panelists, and I'm going to hand it over to Jeff Scott, who works with CN, and who's actually a past speaker of the SMBMTL, one of the early supporters, who I haven't seen, sadly, in the last little bit, but maybe folks will understand why when you start to tell us what it is you're up to, and a little bit about those things that you've been dealing with my question coming up a little bit later about your community. So
All right.
I'll hand over the reins to Jeff, folks. Jeff, you can tell us what it is you're up to, and a little bit about the job you're asking to do over there at CN. That would be awesome.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Jeff. I've been with CN now just over 2 years, and I got hired to help run the social media program there. But as you can imagine, it's a company that's around 100 years old, and the average length of service that people have been working there is 17 years. So, the industry, the company, and the makeup of the company is something that's been there for a long time. And then social media comes, and it changes the way a lot of people are used to doing business. So it's not something that we would rush into quickly, or just start changing the way we do things. We have to figure out, one of our big challenges is how to integrate it into our business processes across departments. A lot of internal and external stakeholders are involved, so there's a lot of planning there. And as the backbone of the economy, we have a responsibility to do things in a very measured way. So we are collaborating. I'm in the corporate services function at CN, so that includes public affairs, it includes legal, risk mitigation, CN police, and we work with the marketing department, we work with the human resources department, we work with information technology, and there's other stakeholders too that are interested in social media. So it really is a company-wide initiative, and we have our different goals, obviously, depending on our functions and depending on the platforms we're using. So it's something that we've been doing a lot of testing in. We've been trying out different platforms in different ways, and it's something that's still evolving and growing. So it's a really exciting time to be working at the fifth largest company in Canada, doing something that, really bringing things to the next level internally and with all of our stakeholders across Canada and the States. A lot of people don't know that our network not only goes east to west across Canada and obviously up in a few little places, but it also goes all the way down to the Gulf Coast in the States. So it really is a North American initiative.
Okay, cool. And in terms of the idea that you're dealing with such an old company, and I know it comes up a lot at our breakfast with respect to getting involved with social media and someone sort of stepping into a newly created or a role within that company that's new to some of those sort of older guards, if you will, the standard marketing PR type people who have been in that role forever. Like, what are some of the I'm going to have two questions for you in the end.
Sure.
What are some of the challenges you faced in these 2 years getting through some of that red tape, and did it take you a long time to sort of break through and have these people understand that sharing and being a bit more open about certain things is better than the alternative now, with people being able to sort of dig around on their own and find this type of stuff if they're looking for something bad, so to speak?
Right. Well, there's a few things in that. So first of all, I'd say as a company, I think the reason that we're so successful is that we do collaborate really, really well internally, and as part of the supply chain, getting things from one part of the world to another, or from one part of a city to another. People need to work well together. So that's not to say there are no examples of silos or where it can be difficult to move things along, But when the company decides that it's going to focus on something, it really is, people are dedicated and passionate. And it's not always easy, but there's always goodwill, and people really do work well together to try and make those, the new initiatives, to realize them, to make them come to fruition. So, yeah, in any large organization, there's going to be people who are uncomfortable or who don't always understand, but there's always a willingness, and I think that's one of the biggest takeaways in working in a large enterprise, getting social media up and running, is is the collaboration. Now, that said, there are roadblocks, there are hurdles, there are, we're risk averse by nature. We absolutely, safety is job number one, and there have been incidents like the tragedy at Lac-Mégantic. It was absolutely horrific, and it's changed our industry, and it's changed perceptions around our industry, excuse me. And obviously social media plays into that, because it's a very public thing. And although CN wasn't involved in the tragedy, we are involved in the response. And how we do that publicly and how we're judged to be reacting, it's a very, very big deal, and it's something that everyone takes very, very seriously. So I think while there's a lot of initiative to move things forward, there's also a lot of caution in doing it the right way, and sharing our messages in a transparent way, but not using it just because it's there, not just going out because we can. It's really a question of doing things the right way, and sometimes that means slowly, which can be a conflict with the nature of social media, which is very fast, very dynamic. So that's been one of the challenges, but I think it just shows the seriousness that the company is treating all of our communications. It's a very, very serious thing that we take.
I bet. I mean, certainly that's something I'm sure folks realizing your position and what it is you're doing are going to perhaps address, and when you get into crises mode with these types of platforms, it is that we're communicating on these days. It's not like you're submitting a form on a website and waiting for a response anymore. Like you said,
right.
People are looking for answers almost immediately. And
and one of the things we also do is we monitor extensively, and that information is treated seriously. Just because it's in a tweet or in a Facebook post doesn't mean it's considered any less seriously than because it's in a major national newspaper.
Okay, that sort of leads me into my next question, and one of our core topics for the event, and that's community. Mm-hmm. And I guess because you're so involved, can you sort of give us a synopsis of some of those things, like whether good or bad, and how deep your community runs in terms of online participation? Maybe a sort of an idea of where the community is most active, and what type of people are, whether it's businesses contributing or partners, or whether it's individuals' concerns. Can you just sort of give us a brief idea of the more prominent types of communications you're dealing with on a regular basis?
Sure. It's a great question, and I think it's important to understand, again, with any large organization, you're going to have different communities even within that. So like I said at the beginning, we have our different functions within CN. So largely it's corporate services, public affairs, and then marketing and human resources. And each of us has slightly different communities, different stakeholders with which we interact online. So if you look at it from a human resources perspective, we're doing tons of hiring. And often in places where it's difficult to find people, and a lot of the jobs are challenging. It's tough work. So they're looking at a certain kind of person who is looking for employment, who will be a good fit with the position in the company. From marketing, like you mentioned, businesses. As I mentioned earlier, the supply chain. We really work with all sorts of businesses from start to finish. Whatever we're talking about, whether goods or freight we're moving, there's a lot of moving pieces involved, and it really is a network where everything has to integrate really well. From our point of view in corporate services, we have all sorts of stakeholders, whether it's the public, whether it's municipalities, government, media, the regulator. All of those play in. If we look at it from a sort of the other side of things, where we look at it on a platform basis, If we look at Facebook, we weren't there until February 2012, and now we have over 30,000 fans. We have 2 different Twitter accounts, both are around 1,500 fans. We have a LinkedIn page with thousands of members. So we have a lot of platforms, and a lot of people will participate or engage us in different ways on different platforms. There's also a huge community of rail fans, people who are just passionate about all things rail, and so they're out there. And there's people that are affected by our operations day to day, whether it's something great like receiving a new car that they ordered and they're tracking where it is, when that train's going to arrive and how it's going to get to them, or whether it's something unfortunate like a block crossing. I mean, that happens, and those people are very vocal on social media as well. So we have a lot of different people that engage with us and that we try and engage with in different ways and different platforms at different times.
I think something I'll leave to the breakfast, and I'm going to cut this off to save some meat for the panel next in a week and a half's time. But some of the monitoring it is that you do, I'd be very curious about, considering all the channels that you're operating within, and some of the tools that you've found useful over the years and acclimatizing yourself to this position. And I believe you've employed these types of things in previous jobs, but that's always of interest to me. And I know that being in the space you're probably up to speed on some of the latest and greatest in terms of monitoring. And we're not just talking Google Alerts type thing. So,
no, it's a lot of duct tape and glue is how I describe it.
Okay, well, that's good. I mean, it sounds like you'd be a good one to explain that. So
be happy to. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to cut it off, but I want to thank you for your time today. It's a Sunday. We're working on a Sunday. But so
24/7, 365 at the railroad.
So are the rail people, right?
Yeah,
so,
that we don't stop.
Yeah. So I'd like to, again, thank you, and invite everyone out to come check out the next breakfast, 8 till 10, February 19th, at La Bistrotte in Griffintown. Jeff Scott from CN among among 4 panelists. We're super excited. And, we'll have the ticket link posted in the description. And, of course, you can email us any questions via the site, LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter. So thanks again, Jeff, and have a great afternoon.
Thanks, Jeff. You too. Take care.
Take care.